Hi class, in this video I'm going to talk about SEO. SEO is short for search engine optimization. And search engine optimization, or SEO, is all about optimizing your site and its content to help people find what they're looking for via search. So the majority of news articles, for example, are found through Google, and the next highest sharing source for news articles is actually Facebook. So it's pretty clear we live in a search-dominant society, and we've previously learned about user behavior, audience behavior, searching and browsing. In searching behavior, people get online and they have an idea of what they want to find and they search for it. In browsing behavior, people use search to find a site, and then they sort of have time to click around. They're sort of looking through things, kind of like when you're bored and you're shopping on Amazon, you browse around a little bit. Search is more about knowing exactly what you want. People who are searching have an idea of what they're looking for, so they do a search, and then when they get to a site, their eye sort of darts around the page, searching for any keywords that let them know what this site is about and let them know if they found what they're looking for. So while search engine optimization is important for, obviously, search engines, the interesting thing about using keywords in search engine optimization is it also helps make your site more usable to people, not just search engines, because when people are in search behavior, they go to your site and they look for words that sort of stand out that help them understand what the site is about. So the big piece of information used in search engine optimization is keywords. Let's talk a little bit about how search engines work, because this will help you understand why keywords are so important. So when you do a Google search, you're not actually looking through websites in real time. It's not like you type something into the bar and Google runs around the entire internet looking for whatever you typed in. What happens is that Google actually crawls the web constantly. Google's constantly sending what's called spiders all around the web looking for new content and trying to understand that content. And as it crawls the web, Google creates indexes. And these indexes are similar to the idea of the indexes at the back of a book. So if you open up any of the textbooks you have for class right now, for any of your other classes right now, and you go to the index, you'll see something like this. You'll see lists of terms and then the page numbers they appear on. Google does something similar. It understands what index words or keywords should go with every site. And so Google ends up having this list of keywords that are associated with each site. And just to explain it a little better, there's a great Google video with a nice little animation that explains how Google crawls the web.
Hi, my name is Matt Cutts. I'm an engineer in the quality group at Google, and I'd like to talk today about what happens when you do a web search. The first thing to understand is that when you do a Google search, you aren't actually searching the web. You're searching Google's index of the web, or at least as much of it as we can find. We do this with software programs called spiders. Spiders start by fetching a few web pages. Then they follow the links on those pages and fetch the pages they point to, and follow all the links on those pages and fetch the pages they link to, and so on, until we've indexed a pretty big chunk of the web, many billions of pages stored across thousands of machines. Now, suppose I want to know how fast a cheetah can run. I type in my search, say cheetah running speed, and hit return. Our software searches our index to find every page that includes those search terms. In this case, there are hundreds of thousands of possible results. How does Google decide which few documents I really want? By asking questions, more than 200 of them, like, how many times does this page contain your keywords? Do the words appear in the title? In the URL? Directly adjacent? Does the page include synonyms for those words? Is this page from a quality website, or is it low quality, even spammy? What is this page's page rank? That's a formula invented by our founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, that rates a web page's importance by looking at how many outside links point to it and how important those links are. Finally, we combine all those factors together to produce each page's overall score and send you back your search results about half a second after you submit your search. At Google, we take our commitment to delivering useful and impartial search results very seriously. We don't ever accept payment to add a site to our index, update it more often, or improve its ranking. Let's take a look at my search results. Each entry includes a title, a URL, and a snippet of text to help me decide whether this page is what I'm looking for. I also see links to similar pages, Google's most recent stored version of that page, and related searches that I might want to try next. And sometimes, along the right and at the top, I'll see ads. We take our advertising business very seriously as well, both our commitment to deliver the best possible audience for advertisers and to strive to only show ads that you really want to see. We're very careful to distinguish your ads from regular search results. And we won't show you any ads at all if we can't find any that we think will help you find the information you're looking for, which in this case, the cheetah's top running speed is more than 60 miles an hour. Thanks for watching. I hope this made Google a little bit more understandable.
So just to review some of the key takeaways from that video, in the Google index, when someone types in words into a Google search and Google looks through its index, it has a few questions. It wants to know, is the keyword the person is looking for in the title of a website? Because if it is, that indicates that website might be most helpful. Are those words or keywords in the URL? Does the page have synonyms for that word? And is the page from a quality website? Google also wants to know if the page is ranked highly based on outside links. So what's interesting about how Google does its search algorithm is it actually takes into account sort of recommendations. If everyone is linking to the Ball State website, then Google thinks, hey, the Ball State website's credible. You know, people are linking to it. People like it. They like going to it. If no one is linking to the Ball State website, Google assumes that that site, there's something wrong with it. It's spammy or it doesn't have credibility. So one interesting way of increasing your search engine optimization is actually just to get people to link to your site. Get people to talk about you online, link to you. This is also an interesting concept because you may start getting on your WordPress site spam comments. You'll get random comments that are just a string of nonsensical words, or maybe really stupid comments that are really general and obviously fake, like, this is a great blog post, you're a genius. The reason you get stuff like this, I mean, you kind of think, why is someone spending their time making these fake comments on my site, right? Well, robots are making those, and the reason is because when those are posted, they often include URLs. So if I'm someone who is unethical and I don't follow the rules, and I want my site to have a higher page rank, to have lots of outside links linking to me, but no one will because my site is scammy, I can create a robot or pay someone to make a robot that will go around and drop my URL in the comments of people's WordPress sites. And people who run these WordPress sites don't always look at the comments, they approve them or they auto-approve them, and the URL to my scam site gets placed all over the internet in the comments of WordPress sites. So that's a really interesting concept. The reason you get spam comments is because of Google's PageRank, because people are trying to get their URL on your site, so Google will think that they're getting kind of like a recommendation from you. So when you're looking at keywords, you want to remember Google wants to know how much is it used on the page, is it in the title, is it in the URL, do you have synonyms, is your website quality, and are people linking to you, among other things. So as you choose keywords, you want to think about putting them in all of these places, using them on your pages, using them in your titles and your URLs. Let's talk a little bit about creating keywords, and we'll come back to this because at the end of this video I'm going to show you a tool that you can use to discover and choose keywords. So how do we choose keywords? You want to think like the buyer. Don't think about what you would describe your content as. Think about what the buyer is thinking and what their problems are. This is why you made a persona, so that you can put yourself in the position of the buyer. What is their problem and what search terms are they going to use? So if your buyer segment is a high school student who's considering going to Ball State and they want information about applying, they're not going to search for Ball State admissions because a high school student likely doesn't know that admissions is the official name of that office. They're going to type in their search terms in terms of what they think. What are they trying to do? Apply to Ball State. So a keyword that would work here is actually a keyword phrase, apply to Ball State. Ball State admissions probably is not great. In our second example, choose a college. You might, when considering what college to go to, try to get some help deciding how do you pick a college. So you might go to Google and you might type in something like how to choose a college. You're not going to search for something like college decision making. That's not how high school students think, and those are not the terms they use. So choose a college is a better keyword or keyword phrase than college decision making. High school students don't think about it as decision making. Something that I've seen recently, resume tips for PR. If you're trying to put together a killer resume, you're not going to search just resume writing. You're going to search for something like resume tips for PR or resume tips for public relations. So put yourself in the buyer's shoes and think like the buyer. What terms are they going to use to find content that you have? Or what are their problems? What search terms are they going to use that you can start talking about so that your site will show up? So this is where We Are IU, I think, is a really interesting site. I know I've brought it up multiple times, but they have a lot of content on there. So they have content about how to choose a sorority. They have content about how to get involved in campus life. So what's interesting about that is they're really hitting those keywords. If you're a high school student and you're thinking about college, you might search for something like how to join a sorority or how to get involved in campus life. And those terms are not on the IU's website. They're not on iu.edu, but they're on weareiu.com because they're talking about it there. So keywords are about thinking like your buyer, figuring out what their problem is, and understanding what search terms they're going to use, and writing content that's going to allow you to use keywords that match what they're already looking for so you can direct them to your site. So this week you also had a short reading and you read about the long tail of search. Well, you'll remember back to the beginning of the class you learned about the long tail. The idea that only a small number of blogs or websites have a giant amount of traffic, and a lot of websites or blogs have a small amount of traffic, but they're connected in this sort of social network, and there's so many of them that there's lots of people actually going to them. So CNN might get millions of people going to their site every year, whereas your blog may have only 10,000, but the 10,000 looking at your blog are probably pretty interested in what you have to say. They're willing to listen to you. You've earned them as an audience. They may be more likely to buy from you or to listen to what you have to say. And you can sort of send them around the internet. You can link them to other blogs. You can show them other content that might be interesting to them. So you've learned about the long tail. But the long tail of search is a little bit of a different concept. It's the idea that you want to be specific and you want to think about your keywords more as search phrases rather than words. Think of keywords as, key phrases. The word sorority, for example, is on millions of websites. If someone types in how to choose a sorority, so the term sorority is just not going to show a whole bunch. If you go to Google and you just type in sorority, you're going to get millions of sites. You're going to get sites that say how great they are. You're going to get sites that are detractors. You're going to get sites with explanations of how to join sororities. You're going to get sites on the history of sororities. You're just going to there's too much stuff. There's too many sites competing for the keyword sorority. It's oversaturated. There's so many sites that say sorority that there's just no chance in hell that your site that has a keyword sorority is ever going to be seen. It's going to be on page like 80 of Google because there's just so many sites. You can't compete. So you want to use a long tail search term, something like find a sorority. That would be on fewer sites, that phrase, find a sorority. That gets rid of the history sites. That gets rid of the sites that are detracting, have something negative to say about sororities. Even better, something like best sorority in Indiana, if we're talking about targeting Indiana students. If our buyer segment lives in Indiana, they might search for something like best sorority in Indiana. This is much more specific. There are way fewer sites that have the term or phrase best sorority in Indiana than have just regular sorority. So you think of keywords as search phrases and get specific. Let's talk a little bit about using keywords, and then I'll show you a keyword tool that you can use to find keywords. So you want keywords to be in your page and post titles. You can do this on WordPress by going to Settings, Permalinks, and changing the permalinks from default, which your sites are now set at, to month and name, or day and name, or post name, and you'll see the difference between the URL. The default gives the page a code, 123. The month name, the post name, actually puts the name of your post. So if your post is about how to choose a sorority, this URL is going to say yoursite.com/how-to-choose-a-sorority. And that tells Google what your site page is about. Whereas if you just have P = 123, Google doesn't understand what that page is. It's about numbers. It doesn't say anything about this page is about sororities. So you want to change your WordPress settings. You want to change the permalinks on all of your WordPress sites that you ever make to something other than default, something that includes the name of the post or page. You also want to use keywords in your page content. I did a Google search for Apply to Harvard, and this is the site that came up first. And so you'll see the word apply is on here a lot, the word admissions is on here a lot, and the word Harvard is on here 3 times. So one mistake a lot of people make is they assume they don't need to include information like this on their page. Why would you write Harvard 3 times on a page that already has a Harvard logo on it that is on harvard.edu? Well, because you want people to find this when they search. So instead of saying each applicant is considered with great care, this writer took the opportunity to reiterate the word Harvard. So each applicant to Harvard College is considered. Same with the second paragraph. We seek promising students who will contribute, not students who will contribute to our community, students who will contribute to the Harvard community. That way we get Harvard on this page 3 times, plus it's in the logo, plus it's on the page, the URL. It's on the page name, it's on the URL. So Google knows that this is a Harvard site. If you search Apply to Harvard, all of those words are here many times. So when you write for the web in the next couple of weeks, you'll actually have to use keywords, and you'll point out why you used them, and you'll have to be really aware of using them, just like this writer was. You also want to include keywords in your metadata, and you've learned about metadata before. Metadata is data about data, or information about information. So these are tags, pieces of information that we can assign to the content on our site, to the pictures, to the blog posts. So in this example, you see a screenshot of the post editor. So when you make a post on WordPress, you choose a category and you can add tags. These are metadata. The category and the tags are metadata. They attach keywords to your post. So you can see in this post, I've given the categories tutorials, creative suite, and then I've got tags business card, InDesign, letterhead, business card design, InDesign tips. So someone who searches for something like business card tutorial might actually find this page because I've used the keywords in the metadata. Hi class, in this video I want to introduce you to Google AdWords. So Google AdWords is a tool for companies to create ads on Google. So I can do a Google search and you'll see ads pop up. So here's an ad related to my search. Now, how is this ad made? It's made through AdWords. The Murat Theater must have an AdWords account, and in that account they are paying Google to put their ad whenever someone searches for Book of Mormon play. So we can do the same with another topic. Apply to college. And we get 2 ads now, Baker College Online and Harrison.edu. So these 2 organizations have given Google money for every time someone does an apply to college search and their ad is shown. So AdWords is a way to buy these Google ads. It's a system for telling Google when you want your ad to appear. So we want our ad to appear when someone searches for apply to college. We want our ad to appear when someone searches for Book of Mormon play. That's what AdWords is used for, but you can use the tools on it without having to pay. You don't have to buy ads on it. So let's go to adwords.google.com, and I want to show you a helpful tool here that helps you create keywords. So I talked about some strategies in the last video for creating keywords. Think like your buyer, use keyword phrases rather than single words. But you can also get some help from Google. So click on Tools and then Keyword Planner. And we're going to click on the first option, Search for New Keywords and Add Group Ideas. And there's a couple different ways that you can search. If you know what kind of keywords you already want to use, you can enter them in this box here. So maybe I want to use Book of Mormon play. I can get ideas. Now I can target this to certain areas of the country or to certain countries or certain languages. Let's get ideas. And Google suggests that there's some groups of ads, and it also suggests, groups of keywords, and there's also keyword suggestions. So it's saying if I'm gonna use the keyword Book of Mormon play, I might also want to use the Book of Mormon play or Book of Mormon's play or Book of Mormon NYC, which would only make sense if I was in New York City, or if my play company was doing the play in New York City. Mormon play. Let's see, we have Book of Mormon Broadway, Book of Mormon tickets, Book of Mormon play reviews. So Google's going to suggest keywords that you might also want to use. Now these are all pretty specific because my keyword was specific. Book of Mormon play is very specific. If I try apply to college and I look at keyword ideas, they're going to get kind of less specific. Oh, you can't see this. We have college application on the bottom, applying for college scholarships, how do you apply for college, grants, online college, apply online. So we start to get more ideas of keywords that we can use. Now the important thing here is you are competing with others in Google. So you don't want to choose a keyword that everyone is using. So one thing that's nice about this tool is it tells you the competition for your keyword. So apply to college, the competition is high. In fact, look at the price on this, $17.64. And the suggested bid of $17.64, what it is it takes into account the cost per click. That is insanely expensive. So this is not a keyword you're going to win with. You just can't. If you make apply to college your keyword, it doesn't matter. There are people willing to pay $17 per click to get people to look at their site over yours. They're going to be in the ads. And if the competition is this high for the paid AdWords, it's probably just as high for the non-paid keywords of just regular sites that use apply to college. So this is a keyword you're just not going to win with. You're not going to get on the front page of Google if this is your keyword. So you can use it if you want. It's not going to hurt if you put it in your metadata, but it's not going to help you all that much. So you not only want to use this tool to get suggestions, but you want to learn about the competition for your keywords. So you can see, what makes more sense. So apply to college, all the competition is high. It's just too high. What about apply to college Indiana? Because we're trying to get students who live in Indiana, right? So now we see more high competition, but it's not as bad in some areas. You see, if we use specific cities, that seems to help. The competition goes down a little bit. Top colleges in Indiana is not quite as high. Independent colleges. So you can start to see suggestions for how you can make this more specific. So, Huntington is medium, so maybe a better keyword is Muncie, apply to college, or Ball State, apply to college, or Central Indiana, apply to college. So you can start to get a sense of keywords that you can use. And again, you want to try and be specific. Now you also can type in, I'm going to click modify search. Instead of typing in your product or service, you can type in your site. So we can type in bsu.edu and get ideas, and Google will look at what it has written down or saved as bsu.edu's keywords, and it'll sort of show you what the keywords it thinks are associated with bsu.edu and suggest more. So you see some suggestions here, and the competition on these is low, so that means you might be a little bit more likely to actually get people with these. But again, you see these are all specific. So you want to go through here and I would say do both. First, look for, type in a keyword you already want to use and look for some related keywords and get ideas. And then also go put your client's site in and see what keywords Google believes are already associated with it and what it would suggest to you. But I think what you get out of this is not only the fact that there's a nice tool you can use to help you, but also you can start to see how being specific is helpful. And you can start to see how using the long tail of search, using key phrases rather than keywords, can help you sort of stand out in a sea of websites.